And for the first time in history, WNBA games will be played in the United Center. The Chicago Sky will host the Indiana Fever at the UC on Saturday, June 7th, and on Sunday, July 27th. The highly anticipated games will feature Fever star Caitlin Clark against the Sky's very own Angel Reese. The largest attendance at a Sky game ever happened in 2016 at Allstate Arena with more than 16,000 fans, while the United Center can fit more than 20,000, so more fans can get in on the action. Tickets go on sale on March 3rd.
Angel Reese wants us to believe that women's basketball isn't just about one player, but the Chicago Sky just delivered a harsh reality check. They didn't just relocate a game. They made history by moving their matchup with the Indiana Fever to the United Center, the iconic home of the Bulls.
I'm looking. Here's Clark. She fires. And go! Wow!
And why? Because of Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese, not anyone else.
They're going to get the ball up in time. Clark at the 40 feet and walks off with the W.
This isn't a subtle message. It's a neon billboard flashing in front of the entire WNBA. Clark is the main attraction, and even teams that claim otherwise are cashing in on her star power.
Platforms on Tuesday night, making it the most watched WNBA game on ESPN Network since the WNBA debut of the Phoenix Mercury star, Diana Taurasi. Passing Diana Taurasi, what a way to start the season.
Well, I mean, listen, this girl is...
But here's where it gets interesting. Before Caitlin Clark, the WNBA struggled to fill seats, let alone make headline-worthy moves like this. Now, entire franchises are reshaping their business strategies, but not around Angel Reese. Her camp might want to look away because the truth stings. Clark is the game changer, and the Chicago Sky just made that crystal clear. Buckle up, folks. We're diving straight into the controversy that's setting the basketball world on fire.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Let me get to some sports items. That's my wheelhouse. I got a couple of things, a few things on my mind, actually. I didn't mention it in my cold open, but I'm going to mention it now, and that's Caitlin Clark herself in the WNBA. Let's get to the WNBA and this sensational rookie from the Indiana Fever, who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops.
Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you the hottest stories with high-energy analysis you won't find anywhere else. Let's be real. The Chicago Sky's decision to move their game against Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever to the United Center wasn't just a business move. It was a statement. This marks the first WNBA game ever hosted there, and it's happening for one reason: Clark's presence. Angel Reese has been pushing the narrative that she and other players deserve just as much credit for the league's growth, but if that were true, why wasn't Chicago making these moves for anyone else? This isn't just about selling a few more tickets. It's about doubling the stadium capacity to meet the insane demand for Caitlin Clark games. The WNBA has had elite talent for years, yet never has a single player sparked this level of interest.
Has WNBA changed just because of one player?
Reese's claims were valid. Chicago would be expanding for other matchups too, but they're not. This is Clark's world, and everyone else is just playing in it.
That and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too. And I want y'all to realize that. So,
Let's talk numbers before Clark. WNBA attendance averaged around 6,600 per game. Now we're seeing packed arenas and record-breaking viewership. Caitlin Clark steps onto the court. It's not just a basketball game, it's an event. The United Center move is just the latest proof that the WNBA is riding the Caitlin Clark wave, whether they want to admit it or not.
Attendance of WNBA games not involving Caitlin Clark is 8,490. So games that Caitlin Clark plays are averaging 85% more than non-Caitlin Clark games. Just throwing that out there. You need to know. You need to understand these are the kind of things that comes with it.
Before Caitlin Clark entered the league, WNBA games were struggling to break through to mainstream audiences. Sure, there was a loyal fan base. But let's be honest, many games barely made a ripple outside hardcore circles.
Let's talk numbers. Before Clark, WNBA attendance averaged around 6,600 per game. Now, we're seeing packed arenas and record-breaking viewership.
Matchups were competitive, but they lacked that must-watch factor. Some arenas were half empty. TV ratings were stagnant and media coverage minimal. Now the landscape has completely shifted, and one name sits at the center of it all. Caitlin Clark, well,
You said, if I had transferred earlier in my career, I wouldn't be having the time of my life.
Clark's arrival wasn't just big. It was a cultural shift. Attendance skyrocketed almost overnight. Merch sales flew off the shelves. Networks scrambled to secure WNBA rights, and suddenly ticket prices surged to levels no one had seen before.
The Indians has really taken upon her shoulders to be more aggressive offensively. Tweet trade and she can't guard for free.
Rattled recently being the first WNBA player that has recorded consecutive 20-plus.
Reese, Bentley tips it away and off and running. Caitlin Clark wins a bet.
And here's the kicker. Entire teams started adjusting their business models just to accommodate her presence. Angel Reese might argue that no one player defines the league, but the numbers tell a different story.
Freya, you don't have to wait any longer. The pick is in. Time to get things back to the podium. Here is the commissioner, Kathy Engelberg.
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of...
Take Indiana's opening game against the New York Liberty as exhibit a over 177,000 fans packed Gainbridge Fieldhouse, creating an atmosphere typically reserved for NBA playoffs or A-list concerts. The energy was electric. This wasn't some coincidence. This was the Caitlin Clark effect in real time. She's not just growing the game, she's revolutionizing it. Meanwhile, the Washington Mystics didn't hesitate to shift their games to Capital One Arena, where the Wizards play bigger venues, more seats, more money.
Biniam Maru are your officials here today. She's up there with rebounds, up there with steals. And she'll take the first three.
What do both of these moves have in common? They happened because of Caitlin Clark.
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
Well, Caitlin Clark hugging her family, her brothers, Blake and Colin, her father Brent, her mother Ann, and heading...
Let's be real. These venue changes aren't happening because of Angel Reese. They're not happening for Aja Wilson, Brianna Stewart, or even GOAT-style legends like Diana Taurasi. They're happening for one reason. Caitlin Clark fills arenas, period.
Start to the season in terms of scheduling, yes, they are ready. And they have fresh legs coming in here to DC.
As the Fever get the jump and the first bucket is down. There's Van Loo. We're getting Edwards on the move. Got it deep.
The defense would definitely be at the top of the list.
Wallace in the corner gets that to go.
Listen, instincts.
Here's Boston off the pick and roll. Little hesitation gets that.
Fans can debate all day about who the face of the league should be, but money doesn't lie. The WNBA at the end of the day is a business, and businesses follow the dollars right now. Every financial trend, every sponsorship deal, and every pact. Stadium points back to one undeniable force, Caitlin Clark. Despite all this, Angel Reese isn't backing down in a viral interview. She confidently pushed back against the narrative, insisting that the WNBA surge isn't just about Caitlin Clark. She
take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person.
What do both of these moves have in common? They happened because of Caitlin Clark.
I need to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
He argued that players like herself deserve just as much credit for the league's rise. Sounds good on paper. But let's talk facts. If Reese's claim were true, why isn't Chicago expanding its arena for her games? Why aren't ticket prices doubling for Sky matchups that don't feature Clark?
Take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
It's almost laughable at this point. Reese is out here saying it's not just about one player, while the entire league's marketing, ticket sales, and media coverage say otherwise. If Chicago truly believed in her star power alone, they'd be making major adjustments for their own games, not just when Caitlin Clark is in town.
Been around for well over 2 decades now. But never in its storied history has it ever generated even a third of the 2024 season. Yes, you heard that right. And in case you're wondering what the figures are, well, a whopping rise to an unbelievable 1.4 million average viewers in 2024 tells a tale of a long overdue exposure erupted into the scene. And why is everybody clamoring to get a peep of the action? Well, I have 2 words for you. Caitlin Clark.
But here's the thing. This isn't about fairness, it's about demand. And right now, Caitlin Clark is the demand. The more Reese and others try to downplay her impact, the more they look out of touch with reality. Insert link 0011. Clark's presence has turned the WNBA into appointment television. Whether her critics admit it or not, she's the driving force behind the biggest boom the league has ever seen.
Indiana Fever. They make sure of Caitlin when she gives the ball up. Well, the Fever on a 15-2 extended run from the end of the first. That Conley with a huge block. An absolute wall.
Caitlin Clark's presence in the WNBA isn't just about numbers on the stat sheet. It's about numbers on the viewership charts. Since her arrival games featuring the Indiana Fever have seen a massive spike in ratings, drawing in casual fans college, basketball loyalists, and even skeptics curious about the hype.
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft,
networks are taking notice and sponsorship deals are skyrocketing, but with this newfound exposure, the Aces and other WNBA stars face a tough reality. Clark's rise is reshaping the league's entire landscape for veterans, like a Jaw Wilson-Banai, Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. This seismic shift presents both an opportunity and a challenge. They're being forced into a different spotlight, one that pits them against the rising face of the WNBA.
So fired up about the draft last night. WNBA. Got the call with Eddie, you know what he said? I watched the draft last night. Yeah, totally. This is what people are talking about.
And we should just say, Eddie drives you to... People thought he was your boyfriend for a minute. No, they did. And I saw him yesterday, and I was like, what up, Eddie? And he was like, can you believe it? Eddie, you love him.
I love Eddie dearly.
You've worked with him for many years.
Many years, yes. I call him my Eddie.
He's your Eddie, but that doesn't mean he's your romantic Eddie. So we should just, any of y'all that are thought that she had found the one.
It's a battle for relevance, for legacy, and for respect. And let's be honest, some aren't happy about the shift in power dynamics. Clark's brand power is undeniable, but will it overshadow the dominance of the league's established stars?
When did that start happening? Like, when was the first time you started to sort of feel the recognition of like people when you're walking around?
Honestly, the start of the season. I feel like people...
The league office, however, is capitalizing on this wave of attention. With Clark in the mix, ticket sales are soaring in. Merchandise is flying off the shelves, and media coverage is more intense than ever. The Aces, once the undisputed focal point of the league's marketing, now find themselves sharing, if not outright losing their limelight to Clark. It's a changing of the guard, and some teams might not be ready for it.
Experts, novices, fans, just furious today. So is it fair, Jamel, to compare the NBA and the WNBA? Just look at the television rights. The NBA makes $2.7 billion a year, while the WNBA so far only makes $60 million a year. And this is a business that dictates pay.
No, it is totally unfair because I think that people, by the way, welcome people who are just now tuning into this conversation about pay disparity, which, by the way, the women in this league have been having for years now. Understand that you have to throw the NBA comparison out the window. The NBA had a 50-year head start. If you just absolutely insist on comparing the two leagues, why don't you compare them at the same stage? The WNBA is 27 years in. Go back and look at where the NBA was at 27 years in.
It's no secret Caitlin Clark is playing under a different set of defensive rules. Night after night, she faces the toughest defensive assignments, often drawing double and triple teams before she even crosses half court. The physicality. Next level. The aggression unmatched, the reason teams know stopping Park is their best shot at avoiding a highlight reel disaster.
Hitting by Jordan there. Now on Agumake. Good bounce pass to Reese. Forced it. Oh, good touch pass inside Seattle. Reese driving in with the left hand right at McEnroe. Big Smith with three. Splits the defenders. Shot blocked from behind by Angel of Batiste. The flip shot with the right hand. No good. Gets her own rebound. Again goes through traffic and scores. Angel Reese.
A.A. Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces aren't taking any chances either. Wilson, a two-time MVP and defensive powerhouse, understands that limiting Clark is key to keeping the Fever from gaining confidence. And it's not just about Clark scoring. Her vision, her passing, her ability to shift defenses make her a constant threat. The Aces have made it clear they won't let her get comfortable. But here's the thing. Clark thrives in adversity. The more teams try to shut her down, the more she finds ways to adapt, whether it's through deep-range daggers, quick-release assists, or drawing fouls with her high IQ play. Clark is proving she can handle the pressure. The real question is, can the Aces and the rest of the WNBA keep up with her adjustment?